David. I'm Yanitza with the Christian Channel. So are you excited about this movie premiere on October 4th?
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for people to see it, and I am stoked and can't wait to see what you think.
And also, are you a big fan of Halloween?
It is one of those seasons that my family and I look forward to every year. We dress them up as little saints, which is a little different than most, but they love it.
I love that. Who's your favorite saint?
You know, Padre Pio, I'm Italian, so growing up, Padre Pio was always a big deal to me.
I love Padre Pio. I just came back from Italy, so
Oh,
I'm a big
nice.
fan of Padre Pio in general
Oh,
before
very cool.
then, but I loved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Now, being the director of this film
Yes.
and also an actor in it, tell me about your favorite scenes filming with Mel Gibson.
You know, I'm such a fan of his work, and there was a couple scenes in particular where I was hoping for Mel Gibson from this movie. Like, there's a scene in The Patriot where he says bye to his daughter, and it's a really touching moment in that scene. Fun fact, that was really his daughter in the film. And I was like, man, I really want Mel Gibson from The Patriot in this scene saying bye to his daughter. I hope he does that in this scene in my film. And then I'm watching the monitor, I say action, and he does it. And it's like exactly what we need. And that was such a privilege to get to do. He hasn't done a family movie in a very long time, since Pocahontas. So for him, he got to have fun. This was like a fun thing for him to get to do. And you can see it on camera. You can see he really cares. And he gives one of his best performances, I think, in at least a decade.
I love hearing that. And also being that this film is a family-friendly Halloween project that you created, were there any scenes where you're like, hey, this is a little too spooky, let's tone it down, keep it family-friendly?
Yeah, Scare Not Scar was definitely at the forefront of this film. It is a PG-13 movie, so it's not meant for 3-year-olds. It's similar to Stranger Things Season 1, where it's like, okay, there's nothing, there's some fun spookiness, but it's nothing too crazy. Stranger Things Season 4, that's where things start
Very
getting a little
different.
scarring and crazy and more rated R like. This is not that at all. You know, I was referencing movies like The Goonies and Sandlot and E.T. You know, these are movies that are great for, 10-year-olds, middle school, high school parents. Honestly, when I first read the script, it reminded me of when I was a child watching movies with my father. That was some of my best memories. Some of my most cherished experiences were watching movies with my dad when I was a kid. And I felt that when I read the script, and I said, man, this can be for, 10-year-old me and my dad. This can be for a whole new generation, and I'm excited to direct this because I think this can really be that movie. And I love the spooky genre because the whole reason you'd have fear in story or in fairy tales was to show that you could overcome your fears, right? People have been telling fairy tales since they've been sitting around fires, and there was always a foe, there was always a dragon guarding gold, which symbolized your potential. And we told those stories to our children because we wanted to show our children, you need to slay that dragon, because later in life you're going to meet dragons, and they're holding you back, and you need to slay those things in order to achieve your potential. And this film very much has that sense of storytelling baked into it, where it's not empty fears, it's a challenge to you to go, what are you afraid of in life, and can you overcome it? There's a great quote that's, evil only wins when good men do nothing, and that's at play in this film.
Yeah, very well said. And also in the film, it shows that all the friends are working together, right, to solve a problem. And that's something, that's another good message to show a lot of the youth that will be watching it. Now, aside from this being a really fun project for you to do, what was your favorite costume as a kid for Halloween?
Oh, that's awesome. I love dressing up as Power Rangers. I definitely was Power Rangers. I was ninjas. A lot of warriors. Power Rangers ones, though, those are the most iconic. When I look back, I go, yeah, that was my childhood.
And from, all the Halloween movies from the last few decades, what was the most scary Halloween movie you've seen?
I've seen some scary movies. The one that I wish I never saw that was scarring and not just scary was Dr. Moreau. I saw it as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old. My dad took me. He shouldn't have taken me to see that movie. That was an absolutely scarring movie. I had nightmares about that. My movie will not give you nightmares. That movie did.
Yes, well, I'm sure because yours is PG-13, more family-friendly.
Yes. Now,
being from the Christian Channel, now do you think this movie will also just kind of like show families that, hey, it's a fun Halloween movie?
Yeah, totally. This again, it harkens back to my childhood when I was a boy getting popcorn with my dad, watching movies together. This is a perfect example of that because there's something for the parents in Mel Gibson and his character arc, which is a very powerful one and a very relevant one for parents nowadays. And then there's the kids, who the kids will relate to in the film, and they recognize and probably follow online. So there really is something in it for both parents and kids that I think will be touching by the end of the film.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
One last question. What is your favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse. I tell you what, I'm carrying one in my pocket right now that I'm remembering throughout the day. Let me see here. I got a few actually, but the one that I'm remembering right now is, "Put away your old self of your former way of life and be renewed. Put on the new self, set it in God's way in righteousness, holiness, and truth." That's Ephesians 4:22. So right now, that's my favorite one, because it helps me to remember each and every day to walk a new path in righteousness, holiness, and truth.
That is a very beautiful verse from Ephesians. That's actually one that I really like as well.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
We're on the same page, and we like Padre Pio. Come on.
Yes. Thank you so very much for this interview. It was a pleasure interviewing you, David.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Yanitza Munoz with the Christian Channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your amazing experience filming this movie that comes out October 4th.
Yeah, I mean, I had such a wonderful experience. Everyone in this cast is just amazing. Eugene is such a wonderful character. He's very different from me, but I had a great challenge, learning and portraying this role.
And what was it like working with Mel Gibson?
Insane. It was insane. I mean, Mel is such a legend in this business, and so to learn from him and to see how he really just does his thing and to interact with him off and on set, in scene, out of scene, anywhere, was just wonderful.
And also David Henrie is in the film as well as being the director. What is it like working with him?
Oh, goodness. David, oh my gosh, he's such a wonderful director. He really, really is. He's super, super special to work with. He does his own little things, which every director has, but he's just perfect. Also, him being an actor now and back then, I think it helps us. He gets through to us, which really helps with our job on this movie.
Aside from being in a Halloween movie, are there any other movies that are your favorite to watch during the spooky season?
The spooky season. The Shining, for sure.
Very scary.
Very scary. Conjuring, again, very scary. But then something that's not as scary, Hocus Pocus. It's a classic.
I love Hocus Pocus.
It's so good.
It's the best.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. And also, while making this movie and being that you were really getting in depth with your character, did you feel that any of the other characters were really helping you get more involved in such a unique film that you're maybe not used to filming?
I mean, Mel and Lorraine, really, I mean, they're legends. So to see how they got into their characters helped me find Eugene. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, aside from this film, do you also think that maybe in the future we'll do other like seasonal films, maybe like other holiday type movies coming up?
I love the holidays. I love Halloween, I love Christmas, I love everything. So, I mean, my dream is to do like a Christmas movie. So to get this and do a Halloween movie, it's just adding up to there.
As a kid, what was your favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, my favorite Halloween costume. Well, I mean, I did a Yoda when I was super, super little. My mom painted like my nails green. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
guys. I'm Yanitza Munoz with the Christian Channel.
Nice to meet you.
So let's get in about Halloween. Are you guys excited that Halloween's around the corner and about the premiere October 4th?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I love the fall months. I mean, the fall is the best, right? Halloween is so much fun because I feel like it goes on through like the whole month. Like a lot of other like holidays and stuff, it's like, oh, it's that day, and then you know what I mean. But Halloween,
The whole
is, like,
energy of this time
it's
of
just
year.
spooky the whole month, which is pretty fun.
And what was it like
Yeah.
filming this film with the character that you had to dive deep in, and both of you having to like join in and really kind of like solve the mystery of what's going on at the end of the film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was a really interesting experience because, you know, in a way, we were sort of living like our character's life off of set. You know, just as being the same age as our characters, filming in.
Getting to know each other.
yeah,
having
getting to know each
fun,
other, like-
making our own adventures.
Right, yeah.
The inside jokes that we had.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we filmed in Southport, North Carolina, so the town really felt like, it felt like, honestly, the perfect place where something
So
like this
awesome.
movie would happen. And so we just had a lot of fun outside of set, you know, making memories and stuff.
And what was
Yeah.
it like having David Henrie direct the
Yeah.
film and
Yes.
also being a character in it as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up watching David and looking up to him. He's such a comfort of my childhood. And so being able to see him that first day and like feeling that comfort and excitement, and also like his passion and uplifting energy translated to the whole crew and made everyone be like, okay, we're doing this because we love this and we care, and not because anyone feels like, oh, we have to, or just, you know, clocking in and clocking out. And it just made everyone feel like a family.
He
and
did,
so
yeah. He has such a
comfortable.
good attitude towards making
Yeah.
a movie. Yeah.
And what was it like working with Mel Gibson?
I mean, Mel is an awesome guy because he's so, you know, I mean, obviously he knows what he's doing, right? But he's very wise in acting, but he's also sharing that with you, and especially as a young actor, you know, he's there uplifting and giving you advice and, you know, giving these pitches of, different ways to do things. And, you know, he really does, elevate the scenes. Yeah.
And were there any scenes in this movie that you guys felt were like, is this going to be too scary for our audience? I know it's PG-13,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be kind of
Yeah.
like family friendly, but were there any scenes you're like, whoa, maybe this might be too scary?
I think it was more like, for me at least, it's not really about the monster, and it's more about
Right.
the energy of everyone coming together
Definitely.
to solve something, and that feeling and that hope and excitement kind of translated more for me than like the spooky moments. So there wasn't anything for me that I was a little bit worried. I really feel like
Yeah.
any age could watch this and
Yeah.
gain something from it.
And as a kid, what was your favorite Halloween costume? We'll start with you first.
Favorite Halloween costume? Oh my goodness. I would say I have so many that I've done over the years. Oh, that's such a good question. You go first. Let me think about it for just, if you have it.
For me, I was obsessed with pirates when I was younger. I always said that I wanted to be a pirate actor when I was a little kid. So I think I did pirates for like 3 years. I was like,
Did you really? I did vampire for like
same
3 years.
Halloween was like 3 years of just being a pirate. But I remember I dressed up as Captain Jack Sparrow for one, and I really thought I was a pirate going throughout, you know, my neighborhood and stuff. But, yeah.
Mine would be The Incredibles with my family.
Oh, that's
Like
sick.
we all dressed up. My brother
the
thought he was
family out?
Dash,
Yeah.
like for a
That's
long time. Like he
adorable.
was really convinced. So that one, kind of when my family would come together.
I love that. So wholesome. And also your story is so beautiful because kids, you know, when we were kids, we're always thinking of like the fun Halloween moments with our family trick-or-treating.
Yes.
You know, with Monster Summer, were there any scenes that were your absolute favorite that you guys will cherish forever? We'll start with you.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes was you see the kids riding their bicycles. It was just an amazing shot to see. I remember after we shot it, we went and just saw like the little daily of it, and it's us. It's just a beautiful shot in the movie, and it looks so pretty. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think everything that we got to do together, honestly, and the day in the pool, doing something that
Yep.
I never expected
Never
myself to do.
forget that.
I'll never forget it. The physical aspect, my appreciation for stunts, and
Yep.
having an actor who's so talented and kind of committed to it being amazing, and we're just going to get through this, and we got this together. Yeah, I think that day for me, I'll never
Definitely.
forget.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for
Thank
this
you so much.
interview,
Thank
and I
you.
can't wait for this movie to be released October 4th.
October 4th.
Thank you
Woohoo!
so much.
Halloween, here we go.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Very
Thank you.
welcome.
So it's really exciting to interview you again, David. So tell me a little bit about how it was creating this film that took place in the 90s that personally, as a millennial, gave me so much nostalgic memories from seeing all the kids playing around and kind of trying to find a mystery, just like in the movies that I used to watch when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. 90s is now nostalgic. That definitely dates us, but it is. That's the time that we're in. And, you know, this is a movie coming out in the movie theater October 4th, which is so cool. And part of the magic of the cinema is you escape into another world that is not your current world. So for me, I wanted to really distance ourselves from the present day time and create an atmosphere that people could feel like they're escaping to and feel nostalgic and just go have a really good time. So making it in the 90s was a way to achieve that. And also setting it in this like Norman Rockwell kind of aesthetic that just feels like a time where anything is possible and there's optimism in the air. And it was a great setting for escapism, which I think is key to the theatrical experience.
You know, also in this film with Monster Summer, I also really loved how there was so much mystery with Ben, his disappearance, and then he comes back, and there's so much mystery on how he's acting a little different. It also gives the element of spookiness because they don't know if it's a monster and what's going on until Mel Gibson's character comes in and helps him discover what is going on with all that. And I don't want to give too much away for our audience. But with all that being said, what was it like, you know, as a director, creating the script, taking place in the 90s, trying to give that Goonies / Stranger Things vibe with the characters trying to solve a mystery with what happened to Ben?
Yeah, some of the movies you just referenced were big touch points for me, because I really want this to be a co-viewing experience. I want this to be a film that parents and their, 9, 10, 11-year-old middle schooler or any of their kids can sit down and watch together. So parents will get in there and they'll see the Goonies and they'll see Sandlot, and the kids will get in there and they'll see Stranger Things. They'll see other references that they're familiar with. But that's all inherent to this kind of spooky genre, and I think it's a wonderful genre because it really can dive into deeper themes. You know, the major theme in this film is that evil wins when good men do nothing. And it's great to set that in this spooky mystery, because it's going to take a lot of courage for our main character in order to go out there and do what he needs to do.
Yes, and also with the film, I love that Mel Gibson was kind of helping all the kids kind of find, figure out what was going on in the end, and he helped guided them. What was it like directing Mel Gibson? He hasn't done a movie in a long time, a kids movie that is. I'm sorry, kids movie in a long time. So what was it like directing him in this process?
You know, I was so nervous to work with Mel because he's an Oscar-winning director, but he dispelled that immediately because he really is a team player. Like he so believed in me that it made me feel confident in what I was doing. And that's not always the case with big actors. I've worked with a lot of other big actors who terrorized the director. And Mel didn't do that at all. In fact, he was a teammate. He helped empower me. He had all sorts of great suggestions. And I was always like, yeah, let's do what the Oscar-winning director suggested. Yeah, let's do that. And he absolutely contributed. I mean, even more than just an actor, he really contributed. And you can tell he's having fun because he hasn't done a kids movie since Pocahontas, I don't think. So the fact that he got to do something that he genuinely wanted to do because it was different for him, and he's got kids who will get to watch this movie, young kids. He's got a 12-year-old, in fact, that's perfect for this film. He's bringing her to the premiere tonight. So he got to have fun. He got to do something that he thinks his kids will enjoy. And you see that in his performance. There's a old school Mel. You can tell he's having fun to his performance. I think it's one of his best performances in at least 10 years. He does a great job.
I also love that you casted Patrick Renna, who was a big actor in the 90s. He still is acting today, but he brought so much nostalgic memories for me, at least, seeing him in this film.
That's a big part of it. Like I wanted Patrick Renna in this film so bad. In fact, when we first got the script, I was driving with my friends who were producing the film with me, and I was like, man, we got to get Patrick Renna in this film somehow. We got to get him in this film somehow, because he is a part of that big warm hug that I'm hoping, millennials or people in their 40s will feel when watching this film, because The Sandlot was a big part of a lot of our lives. So he adds a nice texture to the film that really helps land the nostalgia home.
Yes, and also what I've noticed too is when they're all like playing baseball and he's kind of asking Ben if he's okay, it kind of also just reminds me of like in the films where in the past in the 90s, how they're just trying to help people kind of like really solve the mystery, and a lot of like the Goonies, the Stranger Things as well. So I really love that you brought his character in. How did you reach out to him?
I slipped into his DMs. Mm-hmm. So I literally just DM'd him on Instagram, and we had some friends in common, and I convinced him to take a meeting with me. And I got on Zoom with him, and we had a great meeting. He liked the script. And by the end of that, he goes, okay, let's do it. This is a real deal. Let's do it.
Nice. I love hearing that, especially because it's like took place in the 90s and you had a very modern way of reaching out to him. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. So unique. What's also another thing that I loved about the film was in the trailer, it kind of seems really spooky. So it kind of makes you think like, okay, is this going to be like, it's PG-13, but is it going to be too scary to show kids, or is it okay to show a child? I'm not sure. How was it like making this film to make it where it's a good middle ground?
Yeah, the North Star in my mind was scare, not scar. So I'm totally fine with scaring, because just the element of scaring someone or fear is a really good one because it can help you face your fears. You know, fear does exist and it's something that should be called out, fought, and overcome. So that's a great thing to play with in storytelling. So I was okay with that, but I didn't want to ever scar someone. I don't want someone to, be scarred by this film. So to me, it was that fine balance. It is PG-13, but we've had a lot of younger kids that have no problem watching it. You know, there's no cursing, no sex, no anything in the film. It's as clean as it gets. If it wasn't for a couple scenes, we probably could have gotten a PG. But yeah, there's some action in it. You know, there's some action and some scares, but it's always for a purpose.
Yes, and I love that it comes out October 4th because it's right around, for Halloween, spooky season. Families can really enjoy watching in the movie theaters.
Yes, that's the goal. October 4th, go take your family for a fun, spooky time, adventure, and let me know what you think.
Perfect. One last question. What is your favorite Bible verse?
I have one in my pocket. I forgot. It's the same one I read to you the other day, but this is I have a different one, actually. I have two in here.
I love that you have them with you.
Yeah, I always carry, a little verse around to look at throughout the day because it's good little reminders, this is a good one for the film, too. And this is 2 Timothy. For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love, and of sound mind.
Beautiful.
So that's a good one. He's not giving us a spirit of fear. Power and love overcomes fear. That's what the movie's about. Go see it.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the Christian Channel. I'm Yanitza Munoz. Today we are at the movie premiere of Monster Summer. What I love about this movie is that it takes place in the 90s, is filled with mystery and some monsters. We have some great interviews to show you. We have David Henrie, Mel Gibson, and more. So Dan, tell me a little bit about your experience producing Monster Summer.
It was an incredible experience. I mean, all of us are kids from the 90s, so we really wanted to make a movie that felt like the movies we grew up with. So our hope for the film is that we can make something that, the new age kids can attach themselves to. Like, I think so fondly of those movies that we grow up with, like E.T., Goonies, and Stranger Things. So I want them to feel like an identity around this movie. And I hope that the adults can come and watch it and say, like, this is a nostalgic thing. I remember movies like this, and they can both get something out of it.
That's exactly how I felt when I saw the trailer. Being a millennial myself, very nostalgic seeing that trailer. I love that you even had Patrick in it as well because he was huge in the 90s.
Yes.
So producing this project, this film, were there any times that you felt like it was kind of hard to get the vision that you had?
I think so. So there's a scene in the film, I won't ruin it, but there's a scene in the film where it takes place entirely in water. And just the logistics of filming in water are crazy. And we had a vision of what we wanted to do, and we had to reshoot it a couple times just to get it right. But it was such an important part of the story. It's kind of an inciting incident. So it was really, really important that we got that right.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for creating such a beautiful film with your team. And how excited are you to finally see all these people watch it?
I'm excited. Go see Monster Summer in theaters October 4th. Bring your friends, bring your family.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dan. So
Yes.
in her film. Now, how was it trying to show in the camera your experience of being kind of taken in a
Right.
sense? And then come
Right.
back to the zombie mode. I don't want to give away too much of the movie.
No. I mean, that's a really pivotal point in the movie, I feel like. And, it's kind of hard as an actor to, I guess, show, the inner monologue while not talking at all. So, I definitely had to work on it a lot, the facial expressions, the body language, showing what happens to my character without talking. But, I feel like it translated great on screen. Yeah.
It definitely did. Your character, Ben, basically carried the movie. And it was really interesting because you weren't able to be too verbal, right? Because you kind of disappeared and came back. Now, were there any tough times filming the scenes where you couldn't really have too much expression? You had to keep the zombie mode on?
Yeah, I mean, it got difficult at some points, but I feel like having David Henrie as a director, and a lot of my scenes were with Mel, I feel like it definitely helped. They have such awesome knowledge, and, they're willing to share it. So as a young actor, it definitely helped. Yeah.
And being that this is kind of a semi-scary movie, but also family-friendly as well, were there any times where you're like, okay, I got to tone down, the scenes here, I got to keep this, family-friendly?
No, I feel like it had a great balance of being spooky in a way. There's a lot of mystery to it. I wouldn't so much say, scare, like jump scare. It was more about, the spookiness and the mystery. And I think the movie, had a perfect balance of it, definitely.
And I'm really excited because Halloween is around the corner. So do you think this is a good, wholesome movie for the family this spooky season?
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody can watch it. I think everybody of all ages are going to enjoy watching it, and they're going to be able to relate to it.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. How exciting. Finally, the day has come. We're here at the premiere. The release date is around the corner, October 4th. I have to say, I love that you're in this film. I'm a millennial from the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, and I loved watching you in all these iconic films. And now here you are in this film that takes place in the 90s. Tell me about your experience working with David Henrie and Mel Gibson.
Well, I mean, geez, those are two big names. David Henrie is the reason I did it. He called me and asked me to be part of it, and I've always been such a huge fan of his. And it was COVID time, so we just Zoomed, but I got to meet him on Zoom, and I think, both of us just were feeling it. And then I was on set, a couple weeks later, so that was really special. And then Mel Gibson, forget about it. My favorite movie is Braveheart, so, that was... he's a superstar, so you get a little starstruck with those guys, But he was great. He was so gracious and nice, yeah.
And I love the storyline of the film because there's a bunch of kids in the summer. They lose their friend Ben. They're trying to find him. It's a mystery. It's a scary mystery. So what was it like kind of having this semi-scary movie, kind of similar to The Goonies, Stranger Things? What was it like with your character adapting to working in a genre back in the 90s, not so much in 2024 vibes, but kind of like bringing that family fun type of movie set back into our audience?
Well, I think the 90s are 80s, 90s, early 2000s are kind of those years where, well, not early 2000s, but 80s and 90s where, electronics didn't really hit. Digital age wasn't quite there yet. So there's something special to all of us, people that grew up in those decades. So to go and play in that era and act in that era, that's amazing. That's what it's all about. And I love acting in movies because it's nostalgic for me too. The cars, the clothes, everything,
What was your favorite scene in the entire film?
Oh, wow. Gosh. I've only seen it once, so I'd have to see it again. I guess the favorite one to film was anything with the kids, they're not kids anymore. They're all taller than me, and they're adults now because we filmed it a few years ago. But any of the stuff with them, because that brought back good memories for me, too. Yeah.
So you are the director of Father Stu. Tell me a little bit about your experience directing that film.
Oh, my goodness. It's been so long. It was amazing. It was one of the highlights of my life so far. It was such a blessing to be tasked with that responsibility. And I was really, really proud of how it turned out, and looking forward to contributing more content like that to the world.
Beautiful. And also, do you find yourself doing more Catholic films in the near future?
Yeah, well, I have a couple in development, yeah. So we'll see. These things take a while to get off the ground, but that's certainly my intention.
Well, nice to meet you, Jackie. Thank you so much for your time. Hi, Mel. I'm Yanitza Munoz with the Christian Channel. Thanks so much for speaking with me today. So,
where are you based?
Well, I'm Catholic, and that's my cousin. He's CEO. We're all Catholic, and we're based in Irvine, California. So just, right off the 55.5 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, tell me a little bit about your experience working with David Henrie in Monster Summer.
David's great. When I met him over coffee, he was like the friendliest guy on the planet. So, and I knew he was creative, and I knew he would be good to work with and collaborate with. And in fact, I was right, and I did have a good time. So I don't regret the experience at all, and he's become a very good friend.
Beautiful. And I also love the 90s nostalgic. I'm a millennial, so seeing Patrick in it and seeing that it takes place in the 90s, and it's a wholesome movie with mystery and adventure. Now, was that another reason that you're so drawn to it, being that it was kind of fun and wholesome, a little bit of scary, but not too much?
Yeah, it's kind of, it hits a certain spot.
Now, were there any challenges filming the movie? I know you guys tried to make it like a summertime film on the East Coast. What was all that like?
Well, there was the COVID thing, and then Mason got sick at one point. They had to stop, that kind of stuff. It's the usual,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
well,
production hell.
I know, right? That's all like beautiful. There's always something that goes on. One last question. What is your favorite Bible verse?
I don't have a favorite. There's too many good ones.
Beautiful.
And they're hard to, they all mean something different. I mean, it's great. From the Old Testament and the New Testament. I mean, how could you possibly pick one?
Yeah. I'm You Need Some Movies for the Christian Channel, and I hope you had as much fun as I did for the Monster Summer movie premiere.